Hey, what's up, guys? Frosty here. I want to bring back my Hand of the Week series that I had done in the past. I never really made a decision to stop making the videos. It was more of a case of just grinding and blogging and kind of getting in the way, and it was kind of hard to find the time. But lately, I've been thinking a lot about poker, playing a lot of poker. Why don't I just start with a little update about me? Over the last couple months, I've been transitioning from full rank to six max cash games. It's kind of the first time in a long time where I've really uh, started to work on my game and started thinking on a deeper level about poker. And I'm kind of like viewing this whole transition as an investment, where I know it's going to cost me time and money right now, where because I could just be making a lot more money grinding at the full ring tables. But I think it has the potential to pay off in the future. Just in terms of, I think the ceiling higher six max in terms of like VPPs, in terms of higher stakes games running, and player pools are just generally bigger. And I also think there's just something to be said about mixing it up to stay interested in the game and to always kind of challenge yourself. Uh, and yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. So yeah, with that in mind, I have been playing a lot of hands. I am kind of at the point where I feel like I can beat 100 no limit six max quite comfortably at a decent win rate. I've been playing Zoom exclusively, and I've been playing 200 this month. Um, it's been going okay. Like I don't know, I'm up a little bit, but not that much. But I think I've been running fairly bad overall, so I think it could be a lot better, even though it's fairly decent anyways. And I've still like kind of been ironing out my play a bit and adjusting to new regs. Takes a while to get just stats on players. Something as simple as that can affect your game quite a bit. Like when you first move up stakes, especially at Zoom pools, like you're going to be pretty much readless. But I don't know. My thoughts on the games. I mean, I think most of the regulars are like not great. You're gonna get the guys that like play 200 and 500, and those guys are gonna be pretty solid. But then you're gonna get a lot of guys who just don't seem very good, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't posted amazing results myself, so I probably too early to judge. But anyways, it's kind of my overall thoughts on things right now. Um, the hand though that I wanted to get into right now is just a hand that kind of demonstrates how I think you should be really thinking about your overall ranges in certain spots. And in this specific situation, I'm going to be talking about why you might want to kind of shore up your check calling range on certain boards. So I'm going to let this hand run. It's going to fold around to the button who opens 2.5x. I don't know too much about the villain over a small sample. They seem to be folding to 3-bet 67% and to re-steals from the button, and 4-betting 6 to 7%. So they're pretty good candidates to 3-bet bluff with any two cards really. But yeah, I have a pretty good hand to 3-bet bluff with anyways with 89 suited. Um, has good playability when called, flop somewhat disguised, yada yada yada. Not too much to say about that. So I do go ahead and 3-bet. Kind of my standard out of position over 2.5x open, 9x. Some people go smaller, some people go higher. I don't think it matters a heck of a lot. And we see a flop of 8, 9, 10 rainbow. And this is where the hand is pretty interesting. I think the vast majority of people would just bet here. They just, you got two pair. I don't think it's bad, because you can definitely get called by worse, like 10x, jack x, 7, 8. I mean, those hands are just like never folding. But when you're thinking about your overall game plan, like you're gonna have so many hands here that you 3-bet that just aren't gonna want to bet this flop. Like ace king, ace queen, king jack. I mean, king jack could bet, but you could check that hand too. Ace nine, ace eight, um, pocket pairs. I mean, there's a lot of hands that just aren't going to be happy seeing this flop. And if you're betting, if you're betting your over pairs, if you're betting jacks, queens, kings, aces, if you're betting some semi bluffs, queen jack, um, 7 8, and then you're betting all your two pairs, 10 9, 9 8. What do you check? What do you check calling? Like, what's the strongest hand in your check calling range? it's going to be stuff like Queen 10, Jack 10, maybe King 10, maybe Ace 10, depending on whether you bet that or not. But your overall check calling range is going to be left as something that's just so weak. And you can definitely get away with just playing hands in a vacuum at lower stakes because the player pools are so huge and people just aren't paying enough attention, don't have as much history with you, that it's probably never gonna matter. Like if I was playing 2-L here, I probably just could take a bet line on most runouts, because I just expect to get called by worse a lot, and I think people at lower stakes would be less likely to stab at flops if they miss and bluff and things like that. But yeah, when you play with the same guys all the time, you can't just leave like your check calling range that weak, or they're just gonna run you over. They're just gonna fire 2-3 barrels, and you're never gonna be able to call down. So with that in mind, I thought this was kind of a cool hand to check call. It's also a flop that definitely crushes the button's calling range here pre-flop, and they're definitely going to be kind of expected to stab here, I think, when check two, and I guess that's like another thing to consider too. I mean, you're going to get messed around in this flop quite a bit, more so if it's two-toned a little bit. I mean, I don't think many great players will have a raising range here. I actually don't think it's good to have a raising range here in the button spot. But that said, I think you will find lots of people have one. So if you're betting aces here and you get raised, like you're not even that happy. So yeah, something to consider. So yeah, with that in mind, I decided to go ahead and check this hand. And yeah, as expected, villain bets. And I don't want to check raise this. For all the reasons I mentioned, I think this is a cool hand to kind of have in my check calling range. A hand this strong that won't be expected. I think in the villain's eyes here, if I check call, they're probably putting me on a lot of Jack X, maybe just like an Ace King or Ace Queen that doesn't want to fold yet. But yeah, in general, probably a pretty weakish range because I think most people do just bet their stronger hands. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check call this. Also, we're almost over repping our hand here if we check raise. There's definitely lots of straights out there. There's pocket tens, so getting the money in here isn't even that great. Also, I think it's kind of cool to bluff catch with this hand, like rather than like check call pocket aces or something like that. Because we block two sets, we block nines, we block eights, we block a lot of two pair combos. So, and if we're sitting there with aces and start check calling down, we don't block anything. So, yeah, I think this is a cool hand to bluff catch with. I mean, we're not bluff catching right now, obviously, because he can be betting worse for value. But if we are going to get to the river and he is going to just turn pocket fours into a bluff, I think this is a better hand to bluff catch with. So we check call, pretty much get a great turn card. We're still just losing to what we were losing on the flop. Kind of bricks out. No reason to donk lead this turn, obviously. It just kind of contradicts my whole concept of trying to strengthen my check calling range. So I'm going to go ahead and check again and basically try to rep something a little bit weak. As for what I think his range is at this point, it's still super wide. I mean, he can obviously be stabbing with Jack X. He could be value betting a pair. He could be. I mean, he can even be stabbing with King Queen, gut shots. He can pretty much stab his whole range there if he wants, and expect a reasonable amount of check folds, I think, so I don't even think it would be a terrible play or anything. But yeah, his range is just super wide right now. So I check, and I'm kind of caught off guard here when he overbet jams. I'm happy to see this, because I don't think he ever does this with a straight. I mean, it would be fairly ridiculous if he just overbet jammed Queen Jack, when he obviously would most likely be looking for value with a smaller sizing. So I snap called him pretty quickly here. and river's potentially terrible. Jack X gets there, backdoor flushes get there, but thankfully he turns over ace 10, which I think is terrible. I mean, I guess he was value betting the turn, um, but like, I mean, I don't know what he expected to get called by that's worse. I mean, maybe he thought I was just taking a pot control line with 10x and just wasn't going to fold, like Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10. But I think this is a fairly big overplay of his hand, and I don't really like it. I think he could just bet a standard sizing on the turn, and then check back some rivers and shove some rivers if he wants. But yeah, I just don't think it accomplishes a heck of a lot because like if I'm sitting there with like an overpair, like I'm just not folding. Um, like yeah, I'm just not folding. I'm not folding jacks like ever. Um, I mean like I don't know what I would do with like King 10. Like he's almost like making me lean towards folding those hands. Like he's basically just folding out the hands that he beats and just getting called by worse. So yeah, I just don't like his play. Like if I'm sitting there with like Jack X or like hands with equity like King Queen or King Jack, like by the turn I'm still just gonna have to fold them. Like maybe not like Jack X, but he could get me to fold them on the river and like I'm not gonna just like stack off with a naked jack. So he kind of loses value in that regard, even though he kind of protects his hand. But yeah, anyway, so not too much to say about that hand, or by his play, I think. Um, but yeah, anyways, uh, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. The whole concept was mainly just on the flop there. But yeah, like I said, I'll try to be doing these videos. I'm gonna try to do them on a weekly basis, but it might turn out to be more like bi-weekly or even once a month. But anyways, I know you guys appreciated these in the past, and I got pretty good feedback for them. So leave comments, questions. Let me know what you think, and yeah, I'll try to get a few more videos for you guys out more regularly. All right, guys, take care.